John Travolta's life has unfolded almost entirely under the gaze of the public, shaped by fame that arrived early and never fully left. From the moment he became a household name in the 1970s, his personal choices, beliefs, and losses were closely watched, often interpreted through headlines rather than understanding. At 71, Travolta stands not simply as a movie star, but as a man whose journey reflects the complicated cost of visibility. His story is not defined by a single role or controversy, but by decades of reinvention, resilience, and introspection. While the world remembers disco lights and iconic performances, Travolta has quietly navigated grief, faith, criticism, and responsibility. This chapter of his life is less about spectacle and more about reflection. It reveals how fame magnifies every decision and how survival sometimes means learning to live beyond the noise, choosing authenticity over explanation. Searching for meaning beyond fame. In 1975, as his career was rapidly accelerating, John Travolta was also searching for grounding in a world that suddenly felt overwhelming. Like many young actors facing intense pressure, he explored philosophies that promised clarity and balance. During this period, he was introduced to Scientology after reading Dianetics, a book that emphasized self-understanding and emotional awareness. For Travolta, the ideas resonated at a time when fame offered success but little stability. He later described the experience as finding structure during chaos, a way to make sense of personal responsibility and discipline. His involvement grew gradually, shaped by a desire for personal growth rather than public identity. While his association with the church would later become widely discussed, at the time it was a private decision rooted in self-exploration. Like many spiritual paths, it began quietly, without expectation of scrutiny. Faith under public scrutiny. As John Travolta's fame expanded, so did public attention on every aspect of his life, including his spiritual beliefs. What began as a personal journey eventually became a topic of widespread discussion, often framed without nuance. Travolta rarely spoke in detail, choosing privacy over public debate. Over the years, he acknowledged that his beliefs, like his career, evolved with time and experience. Rather than presenting faith as absolute, he spoke of it as something personal and fluid. He emphasized self-reflection, awareness, and responsibility rather than doctrine. This measured approach frustrated critics who sought clear statements, but it reflected his long-held belief that inner life does not require public approval. In an industry that thrives on declarations, Travolta's restraint stood out. His silence was not avoidance, but intention. It was a way of protecting something deeply personal from being reduced to controversy or misinterpretation. The weight of loss. No fame can ease. No amount of success can shield a person from profound loss. And for John Travolta, tragedy reshaped everything. In 2009, he lost his son Jet, a devastating event that altered his priorities permanently. The pain was not something he tried to explain publicly, choosing instead to grieve quietly with his family. Years later, he spoke of love and memory rather than details, honoring his son without spectacle. Just as life found fragile balance, another loss followed. In 2020, his wife Kelly Preston passed away after illness, ending a partnership that had anchored him for decades. These experiences shifted his relationship with fame entirely. Work became secondary. Presence mattered more than achievement. Grief did not diminish him publicly. It transformed him privately. The man once defined by motion and performance learned stillness, discovering that endurance often looks quiet, lived one day at a time. Public challenges and private resolve. Living in the spotlight means facing moments when public narratives feel louder than personal truth. Over the years, John Travolta encountered periods of intense scrutiny, including rumors, misunderstandings, and moments that tested his resilience. He consistently responded with restraint, choosing not to engage in speculation. Rather than defending an image, he focused on living with consistency and dignity. Travolta often emphasized that public opinion changes, but character is shaped by how one responds to pressure. This approach earned both criticism and respect, but it allowed him to maintain boundaries rarely seen in modern celebrity culture. Mistakes, misunderstandings, and awkward moments became part of a shared human experience rather than defining features. By refusing to let controversy dictate his identity, Travolta demonstrated a quiet strength. His resolve lay not in control of narrative, but in refusing to let noise overshadow the life he continued to live with intention. A career defined by reinvention. John Travolta's career is often described as a series of rises and returns, each shaped by changing times and personal growth. After early superstardom with Saturday Night Fever and Grease, he faced periods where roles diminished and momentum slowed. Rather than retreat permanently, he adapted. The resurgence brought by Pulp Fiction revealed an actor willing to evolve, embrace imperfection, and explore complexity. Later roles showed versatility, humor, and self-awareness, reflecting an artist no longer chasing validation. Travolta never relied solely on nostalgia. He moved between genres, embraced risks, and accepted that relevance changes form. His longevity is not the result of constant success, but of persistence. Each phase added depth rather than erasing the last. In an industry that often discards its past, Travolta carved a rare path, proving that reinvention is not about erasing history, but learning from it, fatherhood as a guiding force. More than awards or acclaim, fatherhood became John Travolta's deepest source of meaning. Raising his children, Ella and Benjamin, reshaped how he viewed success and responsibility. He often spoke about creating stability, protecting their privacy, and ensuring they felt grounded despite public attention. Travolta approached parenting with intention, emphasizing presence over perfection. Moments shared publicly were simple and affectionate, reflecting pride without performance. He supported Ella's creative ambitions thoughtfully, offering guidance rather than pressure. With Benjamin, he embraced routine and patience, finding joy in ordinary experiences. Fatherhood anchored him after loss, providing purpose when ambition faded. He once shared that being a parent taught him patience in ways fame never could. In a life defined by movement, fatherhood brought stillness. It reminded him that legacy is not only measured by films made, but by the love and values passed forward. Finding freedom beyond the screen. Outside of acting, John Travolta found peace in pursuits that existed beyond public approval. Aviation became one of his greatest passions, offering focus, discipline, and solitude. Flying allowed him to step outside celebrity entirely, engaging with a skill that demanded presence rather than performance. Over time, it became a symbol of freedom, control, and clarity. He spoke of the cockpit as a place where titles disappeared, replaced by responsibility and precision. This passion reflected a broader truth about Travolta's life. When fame became overwhelming, he sought spaces where identity was earned through action rather than reputation. Whether through flying, family, or quiet routine, he built a life with multiple dimensions. These pursuits were not escapes, but balances. They allowed him to remain whole in a world that often reduces individuals to single narratives. Choosing a quieter present. Today, John Travolta lives with intention rather than urgency. His life is slower, shaped by reflection and selectivity. He continues to work, but on his own terms, choosing projects that feel meaningful rather than necessary. Away from constant publicity, he has embraced routine, wellness, and connection. Simple moments now carry more weight than premieres once did. Travolta speaks less, but listens more. He shares gratitude openly, acknowledging both what was lost and what remains. This quieter chapter is not retreat, but evolution. It reflects a man who has lived many lives within one career and learned that fulfillment changes shape over time. Fame once defined his days. Now, meaning does. His present is not about reclaiming the past, but honoring it while moving forward with humility, care, and an openness to whatever comes next. The measure of a lasting legacy. John Travolta's legacy cannot be contained in a single era or performance. It lives in reinvention, endurance, and the courage to remain human under extraordinary pressure. He represents the reality that fame magnifies both joy and pain, offering no protection from life's hardest moments. What endures is not perfection, but persistence. Travolta's journey reminds us that identity is not fixed, belief can evolve, and resilience often grows quietly. His influence spans generations not because he avoided hardship, but because he continued forward despite it. In choosing reflection over reaction, family over spectacle, and authenticity over explanation, he reshaped what lasting success looks like. The music may fade, the spotlight may dim, but the impact of a life lived with sincerity remains. And that, more than any role, defines John Travolta today.